Hello and welcome to From the Beehole End, the Burnley podcast. My name is Justin Connolly and I'm picking today from another depleted squad, unfortunately. Simon's away in Paris covering the opening of some kind of sporting event that's going on there. I think football might be involved, but I'm not sure. Andrew's snowed under with work, so I was not able to make it. But we are left with arguably the dream team. Direct from Hapton and Cleveland, we have Chris Bowden and Paul Woodhouse. Good evening, fellas. How are we?
Not bad.
Good evening. Good, you?
Yeah, not too bad. Regular listeners will have noticed that we've let enough time elapse from the last episode of this podcast to allow for some actual, real things to have happened that we can have opinions on and discuss. It's good to be back. We've been away for a couple of weeks, but that gives us plenty of stuff to get our teeth into. So the first thing we're going to kick off with is a little discussion about the transfer activity. It's been, I think it's been a fairly quiet window so far compared to the last couple of summers, but there have been some ins and outs. And we might have touched on some of these already, but I think we're a couple of weeks out from the start of the season, so it's a good time to take stock of what's happened. So, fellas, let's get into the outs first. We've seen Peacock Farrell, Charlie Taylor, Arianet Muric, and Lawrence Vigouroux out the door so far. And the startling thing here, of course, is that 3 of those 4 outgoings are goalkeepers. And although we brought one in, obviously we're going to need more than that, aren't we? Chris, do you think we've let the right ones go here? We've got a pretty decent record with keepers, so maybe we shouldn't be too worried. What do you think?
Yeah, we probably all the sort of speculation started with the sort of expectation that James Trafford would be the first goalkeeper out the door, and then I think as we discussed on the podcast, there's a bit of few stories going around that Aaron Muric wanted out, and as we said at the time, I think Jack Gorn was one reporting them with very close links to Muric's former club, Manchester City. So I didn't suspect, he would be telling porkies Jack, and so it proved. He clearly wanted out, and he's opted for Premier League football, which I think nobody can begrudge him. Really, I think we've spoken long and hard about. Felt it was the wrong thing for him to be overlooked at the start of last season, and to be to have to wait until the last 10 games when the season was effectively cut and dried, done and dusted by then. It was a real shame for Muric, but it may well be the case that Trafford still leaves. But we've not seen Vigouroux, we've not seen a kick of Vigouroux. It looked like his highlights reel, as many players often are. It looked outstanding. It looked like the sort of ideal sort of standing goalkeeper. His range of passing from the back. He'd had an outstanding season at Orient, and but yeah, so he's got himself a great move. So fair play, but it remains to be seen. I think you let's hope young Casper gets a sort of look in, sort of climbs the ladder a little, but you suspect there'll be another. I mean, the suggestions are that they're looking. Was it Rodak at Fulham? Is one that they're looking at, and young Travers from Bournemouth, who had a decent spell there at times. So certainly promising alternatives if they are to move James Trafford on.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're going to need more outs. Given the size of the squad, Woody, the problem is, the players that you want to ship out are the ones that nobody wants, and the ones that you want to keep are the ones that people start coming in for. But is it a must? Do you think that we hang on to Trafford now, or are there other players who we need to hang on to a bit more obviously?
I don't think it's that big of a deal if Trafford does go. I mean, there's going to be a bit of money there to all extents and purposes. This kind of weird little inadvertent swap deal we've done with Ipswich to get Mr. Hladky, who, to all extents and purposes, according to Ipswich fans, did a sterling job in this division, getting them up, and they speak very highly of him, don't they? Apart from his ability to come for crosses or whatever they say with the ball at his feet, he basically changed things around for them. Now that sounds like it could be an ideal fit for us. And the Vigouroux thing, the first time I actually saw him was the other day in his new pink Swansea kit, doing various twirls. So there's that one. And I mean, you to be fair, at this point in the close season, you wouldn't be too keen on, say, losing Berger and Cullen, even though there isn't that much noise about those two, and you wouldn't like to lose certain key players that would make a hell of a difference this year. It's probably sad on one, to one extent, Muric going because we knew what we had, etc. But he obviously wanted to go, didn't turn up for training, etc. So best of luck to that fella.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? As soon as it comes out that a player wants to leave for whatever reason, I mean, even though obviously he was the goalkeeper of the season in the Championship when we won it a couple of seasons ago, and you can't replace that with someone better, can you? He's the top of the pile in that division that season, and his experience in the Premier League probably makes him an even better keeper. So, but like you say, if you want to go, you go, don't you? You've got to let them go because there's no point keeping players who aren't happy. So let's look at the ins then. We by my reckoning, I'm not counting Johan Berg Gudmundsson because I don't count him as an in. He never left as far as I'm concerned. So we brought in right back Sharandi Sambo, a left back Lucas Perez, the forward Andres Hutonji. Is that how we're saying that?
I think that's as good as we're going to get.
Yes.
And the goalkeeper that we've that Woody's already mentioned, Hladky. If I'm saying any of these wrong, somebody please correct me. I'm doing my best. So the one thing that hasn't really changed about the incomings this summer, fewer of them than normal, but they seem to be very, very keen still on signing players that I've never even heard of. Hladky are notwithstanding. The other three, I don't know anything about any of them. Chris, you've got your finger on this sort of thing, the pulse of this sort of thing a bit better than I have. Can you fill in any of the blanks here? Put some meat on these bones?
Well, I mean, we've been sort of preparing for the arrival of Sharandi for some while, haven't we? It's and he, good pedigree if you're coming from PSV. I say we spoke over the close season about the possibility of Ruud van Nistelrooy coming and being excited about that, and sort of looking at the players that he developed in his time back in his homeland. But again, I say I've not seen the lad play at all, so it's we're just it's just suck it and see, isn't it? I suppose it's a great bit of competition there with Vitinho. Connor Roberts is still in the building, so it remains to be seen. What happens in that respect. But I mean, see again a good age, 22. Sambo, Perez is 23. Utonji is 22. So it's that sort of market we're looking at. Can we develop these players and sell them at a sizable profit? Utonji. And if you're scoring, I mean, we always thought if you get one of our former guests on Andy Payton will tell you a striker has to score 20 goals in a season. But in this day and age, Utonji scored 16 French second tier, which is an impressive enough haul in this day and age. And I liked his interview last week. He's sort of saying that he's not scared to make mistakes, to fail, trying things, trying to be positive, trying to be effective going forward, and I quite, you want that sort of off the cuff sort of brilliance, and 9 times out of 10 it isn't going to come off, but the one time it does is might be the occasion where you create or score that match-winning goal. But and it's likely. I think I only saw him once. Watched one of the latter games of last season at Ipswich where they played at Blackburn, and he produced an absolute miracle save from Smodics, who for all the world was going to score. And I mean, he'd made the rick to start with, and I think we've been told to expect a bit of that, and he will take risks, on the ball, a la Muric. And but the way he recovered was unbelievable. Like I say, he played 40-odd games in a promoted side. So again, it looks a very solid, astute signing who very much fits into the ethic of what we've been trying to do for a couple of years.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think that little bit of unpredictability was something that we lacked a little bit last season. We were a bit predictable, weren't we? And there was a bit of a lack of risk taking. So we need a bit of that in. I'll tell you what I thought was weird about it, Woody. One of them, I think it was Perez, reckoned that he'd heard that Burnley were interested in him towards the end of last season. And as Chris alluded to there, I think Sambo's been a long time in arriving. We've sort of heard that sort of indicates that these aren't kind of Scott Parker signings, which is a bit strange, isn't it?
It does seem a little bit odd, doesn't it? There obviously are Vincent signings because, like you say, they were throwing up the flagpole. Sambo was almost last Christmas, wasn't it? As much as anything. If I remember rightly, and you can't really fault a Dutch under-21 who played 3 times in the Champions League last year. That's not a bad pedigree for a young lad coming into the Championship. Obviously, nobody's really seen much of him, but it still seems on paper like it's a good signing. But yeah, to your point, both of them feel like Vincent signings as opposed to Scott Parker signings. So, I don't know whether he has anything that he wants to bring or whatever, or how that's being decided behind the scenes. I've no idea.
Or whether he's even having a say on it.
Yeah.
I said the goalkeeper, the sort of goalkeeping incomings are obviously both, players, the speculation linking with Rodak and Travers, they're both players that Scott Parker worked with. Yeah. So it would suggest he's having some say. That was part of the issue at Bournemouth, where there were players being brought in that he didn't necessarily want. But he must be sort of satisfied with the situation. The recruitment, they're going for a certain type, and he looks like on the face of it, he's sort of accepted of that fact that it's they're going to try and find these players. It's his job to try and bring them on now, but fingers crossed, he can also have some input in that department, because ultimately, if he's got someone in mind and feels they're going to benefit the team, benefit the squad, he's got to have that input.
Yeah, you would think so. You would think he would give a sort of emperor style thumbs up or thumbs down on any transfers that are in the works. It's a good sign that these are players that we were looking at when we didn't really know which division we were going to be playing in this season as well. I think that we've followed through on those transfers, and these players still want to come and play for us with a view to getting us back in the Premier League. I think obviously there's a long way to go. I think that the window is open till, is it the end of August? I think. So there will be more. More outs than ins, I think. But there'll be definitely more to come on this over the next few weeks. So far, so good, though, I think, is the verdict. But for now, let's move on. So in keeping with the club's love of a little bit of mystery, a bit of keeping the fans in the dark, the tickets for all this coming season's home games went on sale, and nobody seemed to tell anybody about it. There was not a great deal of fanfare about it. I didn't see an announcement from the club or anything, but I didn't even know it had happened until Chris brought it up on our chat group there. The headline news, of course, being that the top price for tickets to games at Turf Moor this coming season is going to be £55. Yes, £55. I mean, we've got to point out that those are the highest priced tickets. Those are, I think it's Bob Lord tickets and tickets in the middle of the opposite stand. What's that? What do we call that stand these days? It's not the James Hargreaves stand anymore.
Still the James Hargreaves stand.
Is it? Is that what do you call it? North stand. I don't know. I sit in there and I don't even know what it's called.
It's the long side.
So it'll always be the long side. So, Woody, are you going to be? Would you be paying £55 to watch Burnley play Portsmouth?
Seeing I haven't been back for a bit, probably, yeah.
Right.
You know, but I can see how there's some sticker shock going on. I mean, the change seems to be that it's being pushed through Ticketmaster. I'm correct in that, aren't I? In saying that, yeah. So I don't know how much the Ticketmaster scalping price is or tax is in relation to what it probably should have been, but I'm sure there's something, because there's been a big furore over this side of the pond about Ticketmaster prices for sporting events and some of the inflation that goes on to tickets, and it gets a little bit naughty, it gets a little bit silly, and I can imagine why people are rightly pissed off.
So, well, some people on the social medias that I've seen have been defending the club on this, sort of saying, like the market decides the prices, it's supply and demand and all that sort of thing. I've got issues with that because I don't think football clubs should be run like normal businesses. But Chris, would you say that's fair pricing for a championship game?
Not for me. I think it's. Like I said, I can see, both sides of the argument. I mean, some people on social media suggesting that, how do you think the club finances transfers, etc. And the owners, want to make money. Trying to make the profitable business and one that's nice and healthy, sort of thing. But it's just moving away all the time, isn't it, from the working man's game. It's you look at I see in Germany where things seem to be absolutely spot on, and I've not experienced. I've been to pre-season games involving Burnley at like low level places in Germany. I've not been to like a Bundesliga game or anything like that. But it seems to me that the prices are a whole lot more realistic, sort of 20, 25 pounds or whatever, whether it comes to there. But it's all the while you're pricing people out, and it's let's be honest, it's not an affluent area, is it? No. Unless again you sort of draw in more and more support from the sort of the Ribble Valley and places like that, and people who do have deeper pockets, etc. It's I don't know, and bearing in mind, the proof's in the pudding. I believe some of the games are already sold out, so people are paying the prices. So,
one of the games is definitely sold out. There's no prizes for guessing which one that is.
Indeed. Not one at the end of August, is it?
Exactly. But I mean, I've had a quick scan through the prices for some of the other games, and they're not all the same. So, but I can't quite puzzle out whether, I mean, the Portsmouth game, which is end of September, I think. The Portsmouth, that's like a top tier price. That's a £55 game, whereas there's a Plymouth game on October the 1st, which isn't that price. The top price for that is like £40, but I think that's because it's on a Tuesday night or something like that. I'm wondering if they're going to do this variable pricing thing, where like they do in
categories, different categories.
Not necessarily. I think it might be this music thing that they sometimes do, that the price changes according to the demand for them.
Yeah.
So that as you get closer to the game, the price might go up as the number of tickets sort of dwindles a bit. I mean, I can't see why Portsmouth might be a top price game. It's the same price as the Preston North End game. It's. I mean,
they're a big old club. Yeah, they're a big old club, Portsmouth, and I'm having not been to Burnley for some time. I would imagine they'll have a good following, and it'd be quite quite a spicy atmosphere. But bear in mind, I went to watch the NFL. Last time I went was about 14 years ago. Just decided on the day. Lucky enough to be in New York on the day. Went to watch the Giants over in New Jersey, and that cost me, I think, £90 odd then for 2 resale tickets. And I mean, admittedly, that's like a 4 or 5 hour experience, and all the tailgate party, etc., etc. But try and get a ticket for the NBA or anything like that. It's astronomical. Even when the NFL come to Twickenham and come to Tottenham, you're paying. It's just the way of the world, isn't it? But go and watch Taylor Swift. It's going to cost you probably about £500 or something, isn't it?
But just jumping in off the back of that, somewhere like the Browns, for example, yes, tickets will be high at the beginning of the season. Then when everybody realises after game 2 that they're going to have another shit house, it then turns into we can't give these damn things away. So if there's that level of variable pricing, so if for example Burnley happen to have a bit of a poor season, I can imagine these ticket prices coming down. And so to your point previously, Justin, that level of variable pricing in terms of demand for particular games based on how we're doing within the Championship could also be a thing and a factor.
Yeah, so you're saying the prices might come down as well as go up the closer we get to games?
They could do. I mean, if you're struggling to get people to particular games that they don't fancy, for example, and it's all gone tit, so then you may suddenly find things are slightly cheaper.
Yeah, that'd be weird, wouldn't it? If you were sat next to somebody who'd paid £55 for a ticket and you'd paid 20 because we were starting struggling.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris, I think, as I say, one game's already sold out. But if these prices are going to be stable and £55 for a seat seems quite a lot to me, I can see empty seats this season. These games are not going to be sold out at those sorts of prices, are they? I mean, you imagine that the club has done the sums on it, but what's more important, maximising the profit or filling the stadium? You alluded a bit to that about the German thing. The reasonable ticket prices means a better atmosphere, doesn't it?
You'd hope so. But it's like anything else. Go back 15 years ago, and what sort of crowds were getting in the Championship? Probably 12, 13,000, something like that. More for bigger games. Are we expecting that Turf Moor is going to be sold out for most games this season? Regardless, if they're absolutely flying and they're winning every home game and they're the top of the league, like 2 years ago, then there will be the demand will be there, won't it? But if it's a bit bitty and a bit everyone's frustrated and are you going to? You're not going to want to pay that against Oxford United at home, are you? For example, not to do Oxford down, but.
No, you're right about that. That alludes to what we've just said. If it is possible that they drop the prices of the tickets, if demand falls, then I suppose that will make it for a better atmosphere in the ground because there'll be more people there, won't there? I've said it loads of times before, so I don't really need to repeat myself. But I think a football club should be run as a community asset, and it should be something that works for the people of Burnley. And as you say, Chris, it feels to me like we're getting to the point where we start pricing people out, and that becomes a problem. I think those are the people that come from the town who go to the games. They're the ones that you really need to be looking out for. And I'm not sure whether this sort of pricing structure really works in that way. But we'll see. We'll see how many empty seats there are, and we'll keep an eye on it. But for now, let's move on. So the brand new 2024-25 away kit has been revealed, and it seems to have gone down quite well from what I can see. They're keeping up this custom of making out that the design is some kind of tribute to something or other. And the black home the home shirt is a tribute to the long side. We've talked about that already. This new black away shirt is apparently a tribute to Burnley's mining history. Presumably that's either because it's the same colour as coal, or it's a reference to the underground lighting conditions. Not quite sure on that, and I'm not quite sure where the pink comes in. But it is quite a handsome shirt. Chris, are you going to be ponying up your 60 notes for one of these?
I think the days of me spending 60 quid on things that make me look like a sausage in a sleeve. Not
That's why they have extra large, isn't it?
Yeah, but once you start going beyond XL, you're like, no, it's time to give it up, isn't it? But no, it's a nice touch again. The sort of the mining history, real rich mining history in Burnley and surrounding areas. It mined all over the place. Bankhall and all that. Nice little colour scheme. Everyone seems to have a bit of pink, if not a full pink, in their away strip. If you judge by our friends down the road, who rather fetching third strip. Now the one thing that did amuse me though, it's quite a nice launch, nice design, nice clean design. But there's a paragraph in the kit release, in the press release, that the colour palette takes influence from the atmosphere when mining for coal in the darkest of places. Now, right. I've never been down a mine, but I imagine it's pitch black wherever you are. And I don't know about the atmosphere, whether things like, they got a bit jovial, they had a bit of a party down there. I don't. You get these, it's absolute guff written in these football strip press releases, and that's up there.
I often wonder what comes first, the kit design or the inspiration for the kit design. Sometimes you think it's the other way around than you might imagine. Woody, what do you think of it? Have you had a good look at it?
I mean, I've just been looking at it now, and to be fair, I thought it was Fred West basement as opposed to a mining a mining thing. But now you've told me about mining, it makes a lot more sense. Although I did see this past week Everton's one of their games, their Castori kit, the badge fell off. So word of warning,
60 quid though. I mean, it's the same price as the home shirt, which is that's going up as well. The shorts and the socks are also black, and they're £28 for a pair of shorts and £15 for a pair of socks.
Yeah, where's it going to end? Stuff. Yeah. If you get an Adidas shirt, the fan shirt, it's £80 now. If you look at it, talking of kit releases, if you managed to see the Aston Villa one yesterday with Ozzy Osbourne, that's absolutely terrific, fantastic kit launch. Really good kit, really good.
Are they still with Castori?
No, they've moved to Adidas this summer.
Right. Okay. Oh, maybe that doesn't bode so well for our launch then. Anyway, I mean, the added bonus again on this is that they're doing one without the sponsors on the front. I think that's really good news. It's a good deal. I mean, they must have heard, the complaints about. Last season, the main reason why I didn't get a shirt last season was because I didn't want to be wondering about with that sponsor's logo on it. I think I've seen a photograph of this the away kit with without the sponsor, and it does look quite smart actually.
Yeah, so I think nice. Yeah,
I think they'll sell a shed load of the ones without the sponsors on. Although I think some people want to look like they're wearing the kit that the players are playing in, aren't they? So maybe it'll be a fine balance.
But it seems like you look at the sponsors these days, and back in the day, they all tallied with the colour of the strip. If you're a Liverpool strip had a white sponsors logo, and Manchester United and so on, and we had Ensley for so long on the away strips. It was Clarets, and on the home strip it was white. But this insistence on having the full colour sponsors logo, you look at the Leeds kit, and they've got the Red Bull sponsor, and they've managed to change. Leeds fans don't want red on the strip for obvious reasons, but if you look at the away kit, the Red Bull logo is yellow and blue on the yellow
That's
strip.
smart, isn't it?
But and on the home one, it's the red Bull. Yeah, the away leads with the old school badges. Nice touch.
Of course, we'll be rid of these sort of gambling sponsors in a couple of seasons, won't they? But I suspect that a lot of clubs are going to try and milk this for all it's worth, because I don't think the money's going to be quite up there as it is with the gambling sponsors than with other sponsors when they're chucked out the door. But it always leaves a bit of a bad taste in my mouth when we've got a gambling, particularly when it's one of these sort of Far East type, Southeast Asia type, companies that doesn't really have a presence in this country. It's always leaves a bad taste in the mouth, doesn't it? I think that's one of the reasons why people object to it so much. I mean, it's an ugly symbol in meaning as well as in looks, I think. But anyway, you can buy a shirt without it, so that's a positive for this coming season. I'm hearing some rumours that the third kit is supposed to be white, so I'm wondering what that might be a tribute to. Has anybody got any ideas? I thought it might be a reference to the colour of fans' faces when they see these ticket prices.
Or just generally, yeah.
There were a few knocking around on the chat before.
Maybe.
Oh, so Greavesy was saying, paying homage to the 62-63 winter when Burnley went 63 days without a league game from December until March. The whiteout. But maybe that's got something to do with
it. The kit's colour will be snow then, not white. That's how they'll announce it. Anyway, we've still got that joy to come, so we'll see what happens on that score. We'll talk about that more when we see this new kit. But for now, let's move on. Right, so just briefly at the end now, we should touch on the fact that the club have revealed details of the only pre-season friendly we've got this summer that fans are going to be able to watch. Unfortunately, it's going to be in Cadiz in Spain. So that's happening on August the 4th with a 6:30 kickoff, and the tickets for that are going to be sold at the Antonio Barbadillo Stadium in Arcos de la Frontera. That's my best Spanish accent you've got there. So these tickets are going on sale on the day. So presumably you just sort of rock up and you get in. Chris, have you booked your flights for this?
I did look before, just out of interest, and the cheapest I could find from Manchester was knocking £400. So wow. That's not that one on the head, I think. I mean, again, say like with the ticket prices, I'm sure it'll fluctuate up and down. But that's it. We're not much time before before that comes around, is there? So Burnley, wherever they play, if they play on the Moon, there'll be a fantastic following. And it was nice to see the footage last summer. The game. The game in Belgium and the games in Spain again, where there was a fabulous turnout. Lining the streets as the fans were the players were walking to the game, etc. But I'm sure the usual suspects will be there in numbers and making themselves heard.
I was thinking, Woody, that, we were talking about running a business and maximising profit. We've already apparently played 4 pre-season friendlies behind closed doors at Golf Up. Now, that's a missed opportunity, isn't it? Play that at Turf Moor, charge people a tenner to get in, and you can't turn... If we're not turning our nose up at gambling sponsorship and charging £60 for a shirt, then why are we not doing that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at least one or something. To see him, on the turf, if nothing else. But it seems to be for quite some time. There's been more behind closed door friendlies, and you get why they do it. They can mess around and see what they want to do and learn more through doing stuff like that. But it seems strange that the only game fans can go to is over in Cadiz.
Yeah, Chris, in your time covering Burnley, you must have been to some right shitholes watching pre-season friendlies. So this probably would have been a good thing for you. But what's the thinking behind it? Why has anybody ever explained to you why they do it?
Well, I mean, I see it effectively happened the summer that Vincent came in. You know, everything was behind closed doors. But I say it'd be nice to have a sort of a dry run for a game at Turf Moor for everyone who works on a match day as well. You know, let's get any sort of little snags out of the equation. You know, whether you're working on the turnstiles or serving in the pie stands, whatever. It's but yeah, I mean, you think of the sort of fun and games we used to have in pre-season. You go into like the Isle of Man and places like that, and Dawlish Town was Stan's first game in charge. Lovely place, but you wouldn't want to. If you're looking for football hotspots, that's not top of the list, is it? The Southports and Morecambe's and all these sort of places. But it was always good back in the day when you get a foreign side to come and visit you. You know, we've had a few in recent times, and obviously there was the trouble. Was it Hanover came, and that game was abandoned, due to some, just a handful of hooligans that came over, hadn't they, from Germany, intent on redeveloping the cricket field stand on the day. But I think for the fans, they love to see the strip in action, and they love to see new signings, new faces, etc. And I do think it's a shame there's no home game, but it's actually I've always thought the training exercises, these games, and to my mind, they should be kept to training facilities largely. And although I said there is some footage doing the rounds of a goal Manuel Benson scored against Newcastle yesterday, I think it was. And you'll never guess what he did. He's like,
he headed a corner in.
Yeah. It's incredible. Just so like Arjen Robben, you know exactly what he's going to do, and nobody seems able to stop him. Yeah, literally drifts in from that right hand side onto his left and shapes one into the far corner. And we didn't see any of that last year, and I still think it's a crime. And fingers crossed if we can get if it comes through like a pre-season fit and firing, I think the Championship had better beware.
Yeah, agreed on that. I mean, I think it's a big shame that we don't have at least one game that we can go to. The one against Ajax after we won the 4th division title is one that sticks in my memory. We got to see some stars of the future at that game, although we didn't know it at the time. I know, and always those pre-season friendlies, the weather seems to be lovely as well, which it never is when you're going to watch Burnley in a league game, is it? So for that reason, I'm disappointed as well. But anyway, we've only got a couple of weeks to go now before we start to see the real deal, see what Scott Parker's new Burnley are going to be made of. It's our intention, the tech gods and work commitments willing, to be back here next week and start talking about the upcoming season a bit more. And obviously when the season gets back up and running properly, we'll be back in our regular Monday and Friday routine. So we'll all be really looking forward to that. But until then, I think that's it for this week. So I wish you all a great week, and up the Clarets.